Hi there, mates. This is Faraz, the founder of Property Mates, and we are back for another episode of Property Mates podcast, Behind the Mates. Our special guest today is Alex, the co-founder of HtAG Analytics. Alex has over 20 years expertise in IT consulting, architecture, and is well known for offering the right technology to help business grow, increase revenue, and generate. Hey, Alex, how are things going for you? We are so happy to have you here with us today.
Hey, Paris, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And that's a very impressive introduction. But I guess I'll add that I'm not just an IT professional, I'm also quite an experienced property market analytics specialist, you could say. We did found the company more than 4 years ago. And this time, I gradually progressed from IT more into the property space. It was a learning curve, challenging but rewarding at the same time. So we're at the point now where we have some of the most advanced analytics in the market. And really glad to be here, and we can talk about myself and the company in a bit more detail.
Oh, perfect, Alex. And that I would say in today's time, if you're from IT and coming from the property background, that is something, a niche in the market today. So that's great. And talking about your business, HtAG Analytics. So can we get to know you better about like what it does and how
Sure.
you
Like
do
I
it?
said, we started more than 4 years ago with my co-founder. At the start, it was just an idea that we wanted to test. We're both property investors. I was in IT space. My co-founder is in construction and property development. So we kind of, put our brains together and decided to think about what we can do better in terms of making the property investment journey easier. At that time, we were already using data, for all of our investments. At that time, it was really hard to get your hands on quality data. You have to go many data sources, combine them all together and do your research and then iterate through that for quite a long time. So that's how the idea was born. We thought, what can we do to make it easier? I think about half a year after our initial, ideation phase, we actually founded the company and we launched an MVP product where, we just had basic stats on all property markets Australia-wide. It was easy to use, but then we still had to go to like external data sources, look at the data, and over time, we kind of built up the tool, included all in one platform where you can just go to a page for property market and you can see all the analytics. If you know how to interpret data, it's very easy for you to kind of get a feel for how the market is performing, but not only how it's performing. So I hope I answered your question. So that's kind of the journey, how we started and how we got to where we are. But in a nutshell, it's essentially a property market software as a service where you can essentially do market research, have a wide range of customers. We have buyers agents that use us to kind of find markets for their clients when they come to them. Have kind of a framework that allows you to filter markets based on main criteria, like your budget and your desired return. So that's probably the main use case we have right now. That's what the tool is really all about. We try to meet everyone's expectations. We have several use cases, buyers agents, property investors, mom and dad type of investors, and even home buyers, come to us sometimes. When they decide to buy a home, they don't know which suburb is best in terms of, leveraging that equity down the track. They still come to us and, just to look at the data and see how the market is.
That's where dashboard and statistics come into play. So moving forward, like the Australian property market is always unexpected. So I want to ask, how can real estate data, dashboards, and statistics benefits everyone's real estate journey and profession? Like you just said, that parents coming to buy a home. So how come your dashboard can help it?
Before looking at the data, you need to understand, I guess, what property investment process is like, and you got to understand what the strategy is. And that normally is kind of an entry point into the framework or the process that we normally recommend our clients to follow. Main criteria that will determine which markets you can look at on the platform and which ones are kind of outside your range. So the criteria is really simple. It's your budget, which then ties into with the typical price metric that we provide. So if you have a budget of 500K, you're probably not gonna be spending time looking at the markets that are within 1 million range. So you kind of shortlist the markets on the platform right away and only look at the ones where you can actually afford the property. And at the same time, we also have a gross yield parameter. So, if your desired returns are above certain threshold, you can also filter out the markets that are low yield markets and only focus on the ones that meet your requirements, so to speak. So that's the starting point. That's how you begin using the software. Come to the platform, you apply those filters. You're probably still going to be left with 100 markets to explore. Knowing how to work with the data and how to interpret it really comes to your rescue. You could just go to real estate and commodity and start browsing listings, in those 100 suburbs. But there are, thousands of listings to go through, and there's thousands new ones every day. You kind of can fall into that endless cycle, analysis paralysis. It's called, where you just don't move forward. You're stuck in that phase, and you don't know which property is good. Let's say you have a short list of markets that is 100 long. Of that 100 markets, using the metrics we provide, you can filter it down, narrowing down to maybe 5 that have the best criteria in terms of capital growth or returns and the lower risk scores that we offer. And that way you kind of don't have waste time just looking at the listings in markets we know are not going to perform well.
That was a good insight to know. Thanks, Alex. So moving forward, do you have any advice or tips for people wishing to invest in or develop their real estate portfolio right now? And how can someone take leverage of your services?
The main advice is so many markets, 15,000 suburbs. Each one is an individual market as far as we're concerned, and you should treat them in the same way. There's always an opportunity out there. So the wider markets, move up and down, but then there are markets within markets. So there is always a good opportunity waiting for you there. Just a matter of sifting through the data and finding it. So that's where we step in, and provide you the data and help you in that process. A starting point for investors that only looking for their first investment property, but if you want to grow your portfolio, obviously you can apply the same principles. But most of the time, if you're a seasoned investor, you're building up your portfolio, you probably want to balance, for example, high capital growth markets with high yielding markets. You want to be looking at just the capital growth, but also the returns. Rule of thumb, it's an inverse relationship. If it's high capital growth, normally there's low yield and vice versa. So that's one thing to consider, right? You can also find out those high gross yield markets that also offer lower risk. For example, the capital growth may not be that high, but the returns are quite substantial. So it's good to counterbalance, the high capital growth properties in your portfolio with high gross yield.
Yeah. Good advice, I would say. Thank you. And lastly, do you have any special deals or discounts for all of our users and audiences today?
Certainly do. We'll provide a discount code for Property Mates users, whoever's listening to this podcast. And there's going to be a comment section, I imagine, and we're going to post it on there if it's on YouTube, and if not, we'll find another way to share it with you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That was fantastic, Alex. Yeah. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us and explain how HtAG takes the pain out of property market research. If you want to get in contact with Alex and HtAG Analytics, just click the link below and they will definitely help. And before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by leaving us a like or follow us on social media accounts. Till then, bye. Thank you, Alex.